When life had stripped Ben Walker of everything, his marriage, his job, his confidence, it left him with one thing he never expected: a key. The letter had come like an echo from another life, granting him ownership of his late grandfather's forgotten cabin buried deep in the mountains. To everyone else, it was a joke, an old shack, unfit even for storage. But to Ben, with his 8-year-old daughter Leia asleep in the back seat, it felt like his last chance to start over. The drive was long, the road endless, and the silence between them heavy with unspoken fears. When they finally arrived, the cabin stood crooked under the weight of time, its roof sagging, its porch half collapsed. Leia looked up at him, her voice trembling with childlike honesty. "It looks sad, Daddy." And she was right. It looked like a place the world had forgotten, but somehow Ben felt the opposite. As they stepped inside, dust danced in the sunlight and shelves groaned under the weight of hundreds of books. It wasn't empty. It was waiting for them. The air smelled of cedar and thyme, and when Leia pressed her tiny hand to the stone fireplace, she whispered, "There are drawings here." Mechanical carvings covered the stones, gears, pulleys, and strange symbols. That night Ben found a leather-bound journal hidden beneath a loose floorboard, marked only with his grandfather's initials. The first line read, "For healing what the world breaks." Sleep came lightly, filled with thoughts of his grandfather, a man shunned by family, dismissed as a hermit, but clearly far more than anyone ever knew. By morning, curiosity had replaced fear. Ben explored the cabin with Leia, discovering mechanisms built into every surface. Windows that glided soundlessly, hinges that moved without a creak, furniture balanced with perfect craftsmanship. When a jagged beam tore his arm open, panic set in. They were 3 hours from the nearest hospital, and the bleeding was heavy. But Leia, thinking quickly, searched the shelves and found a small wooden box carved with the same symbol from the fireplace. Inside were jars of herbs and salves, one labeled "For wounds that weep." Against all logic, Ben let her apply it. The moment the cool paste touched his skin, warmth spread through his body, then stillness. He looked down to see the wound closing before his eyes, leaving only smooth, unbroken flesh. The disbelief hit him like lightning. The salve worked. It shouldn't have, but it did. Leia stared, whispering, "Grandpa Great was a healer." In that moment, Ben realized this cabin wasn't just inheritance, it was a legacy. His grandfather hadn't vanished into madness. He had discovered something extraordinary. And for the first time in years, Ben felt hope flicker back to life. Days turned into discovery. Hidden beneath the cabin's floor was a secret workshop carved directly into the mountain rock. The entrance appeared only when Leia pressed a specific carved symbol on the fireplace. Inside was a breathtaking world, crystals embedded in stone, workbenches lined with both ancient and futuristic instruments, and at the center, a device shaped like a human heart. It glowed faintly, as if alive. When Leia touched it, light pulsed through the room, traveling through the crystal veins in the walls, illuminating intricate blueprints and equations that defied modern science. "It's alive," she breathed. Ben could only nod. They had awakened something that had been waiting in silence for years. The walls revealed their secrets, notes written in his grandfather's hand describing the empathy engine, a creation meant to read human emotion and transform pain into healing energy. The words etched deep into the wall read, "For the treatment of spiritual wounds and the restoration of connection." Ben could feel it, the air humming, the ground vibrating faintly as if emotion itself powered the machine. The discovery was too perfect, too impossible. Yet there it was, proof that his grandfather's madness was genius. And Ben knew that whatever this was, it had been waiting for him to finish what his grandfather began. That evening, as the sun melted into gold over the trees, a knock came at the door. Standing there was Martha Henley, an elderly woman with bright, knowing eyes and a basket of food. "You must be Ben," she said softly, "William's grandson." Her familiarity with his grandfather startled him. Inside, over soup and bread, she revealed the truth. She had worked alongside William for decades. "He called this the empathy engine," she said, glancing toward the workshop. "It converts emotional energy into healing frequencies." To Ben, it sounded like fantasy, but when she lifted a crystalline lens from her bag, the memory glass images filled the air. He saw his grandfather younger, alive, building the device with tears of joy as it first came to life. The air shimmered with emotional energy that felt real. Martha turned to him. William didn't hide from the world, he was protecting it from those who would misuse his work, and now he's left it to you. Her words hit like a revelation. Ben wasn't a failure inheriting ruins. He was a guardian inheriting purpose. The machine pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat, and he knew his grandfather had seen this moment coming. Maybe, deep down, he had been preparing Ben all along. In the days that followed, Ben trained under Martha's guidance, learning the delicate balance of emotion and energy. The empathy engine, she explained, didn't just heal the body, it healed the unseen fractures of the soul. Then one afternoon, Ben felt it, a surge of grief through the pendant Martha gave him. Someone was in pain. "It's Rebecca Morrison," Martha said, "a widow your grandfather once helped. She's drowning in sorrow." Without hesitation, they drove through winding roads with a portable version of the device. Rebecca's eyes were hollow, her spirit shattered. But when the machine hummed to life, the air changed. The oppressive grief began to lift, replaced by calm. Tears of pain softened into tears of gratitude. "I can feel him," Rebecca whispered, "like his love is still here." Ben's throat tightened. It was working. The machine wasn't replacing emotion, it was restoring balance. On the drive home, Ben understood something profound. His grandfather's devices weren't miracles. They were amplifiers of empathy. Tools that reminded people how to heal themselves and each other. For the first time, Ben no longer felt broken. He was becoming part of the legacy. Weeks passed and the workshop came alive again. Every device pulsed with light, connecting the mountains to others William had healed in his lifetime. 17 people, each carrying pendants that linked through invisible emotional threads. Leia studied her great-grandfather's journals and discovered something called the Community Connector, a device capable of linking every pendant into one empathic network, spreading healing across vast distances. Martha's voice trembled when she confirmed it. "He said it was powerful and dangerous. It can unite hearts or control them." The words echoed in Ben's mind, but he knew what his grandfather had intended, not control but unity. That night, as storms rolled over the mountain, Ben activated the main engine. Light exploded through the walls, traveling through the network. He felt everything, joy, grief, love, from people miles away. The empathy field had awakened. For a fleeting moment, the world felt connected, bound by understanding instead of pain. But as the light faded, Ben sensed something else too. Awareness from beyond, entities or people who had been waiting for this energy to return. Whatever his grandfather feared was real. But Ben also knew fear couldn't be the ending to a legacy built on healing. The next morning, Sarah arrived, furious, confused, and desperate to bring Leia home. Through the empathic pendant, Ben felt her emotions before she spoke, fear disguised as anger, love buried beneath frustration. When Leia innocently revealed the secrets of the workshop, Sarah's skepticism turned to shock as Ben opened the hidden door. The workshop glowed softly, the heart-like device pulsing in rhythm to their emotions. When she stepped inside, the fear in her eyes melted into awe. "I can feel it," she whispered. "It's like the world just quieted." Martha appeared, smiling. "That's what healing feels like, dear." For the first time since their divorce, Ben and Sarah stood side by side, not as enemies, but as parents bound by something greater than themselves. They spent the afternoon understanding the devices, and by evening, Sarah's tears weren't of fear, they were of belief. "Maybe your grandfather didn't just build machines," she said quietly. "Maybe he built bridges between hearts." Her words completed what Ben hadn't been able to say aloud. This was the true inheritance, not science, not power, but connection. As the sun set on Cedar Ridge, the cabin no longer looked broken. Its wood glowed with warmth, its walls humming gently with life. Martha's time was nearing its end, but her smile never faded. "You've done what William hoped," she told Ben. "You healed what was broken in others and in yourself." Ben stood beside Leah and Sarah as they watched the empathy engine pulse one final time, its light traveling across mountains, touching every soul connected to it. For the first time, Ben understood his purpose. The devices weren't meant to be hidden anymore. They were meant to be protected, shared, nurtured through those who carried empathy in their hearts. As the light faded, he looked at his daughter, her eyes shining with quiet strength. "We'll keep it safe," she whispered. "For him, for everyone." And Ben knew she would. The mountain wind carried the scent of cedar and renewal wrapping around them like a promise. The legacy wasn't metal or crystal. It was love remembered, pain transformed, and hearts mended through understanding. The cabin had given him back his faith, his family, and his future. And as the world exhaled into peace, Ben Walker finally knew some inheritances aren't meant to be kept. They're meant to be shared. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe and share it with someone who might need a reminder that healing begins with connection. Every like, every comment, every listener helps stories like this reach the people who need them most. Until next time, keep your heart open, because sometimes the greatest miracles aren't found in machines, but in each other.